Again, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled May meeting of the Village of Tuxedo Park Board of Trustees. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Of course. Mayor Citrin,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Lindsay,
Present.
Trustee Brooke,
Present.
Trustee Shara,
Present.
and Trustee Turner.
You will not be here tonight.
Oh, he won't? Okay.
Yes. Okay, would everyone in the room please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, I have a few comments to make. First of all, I'd like to congratulate two village residents, Bronwyn Roundtree and John Michelle Turgina, who yesterday were elected to the Tuxedo School Board. We wish them well and success in all their endeavors on the board. I'd also like to congratulate Katie Mullins, who has magnanimously agreed to take over as chair of the WEWA Beach Committee. Matt Tenari has done a wonderful job over the past few years. But as everyone should be aware, or at least will be aware once I make the announcement on the election, he is unopposed in seeking election to the Board of Trustees. So as a result, we were looking for a new chair, and Katie Mullins, who's been on the committee for some time, has taken over. And as recently as yesterday, she and I met with the Orange County Beach Inspector to walk through the beach and to make sure all the safety provisions were available. And with the exception of one or two pieces of paperwork, which will get done tomorrow, the WEWA Beach Club should be open for all members starting this Saturday. The weather report, of course, is not particularly favorable. Temperatures in the 60s, maybe a little bit of rain, but we'll be starting the season. I'd also like to announce that this Saturday, the Garden Club will be conducting a fundraiser. The fundraiser will be held at 10 a.m. at St. Mary's Lot. If it should rain on Saturday, the rain date will be on Sunday. There will be bagels for sale, and this fundraiser is to cover the expenses that the Tuxedo Park Garden Club incurred in setting up an irrigation system in the vicinity of the Centennial Wall.
Baked goods and wow.
Oh, thank you. Peonies, baked goods, and flowers will also be available. Finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about the election. The village election is scheduled for next month on June 17th. The polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. As of today, we have our candidate slate set. The office of mayor has one candidate, yours truly. Trustee Scherer has agreed to run for re-election. And Trustee Brooke will be retiring at the end of his term. And Matt Tenari, as I mentioned earlier, will be running for the second trustee seat. There is a contested election for judge. Our incumbent judge, who some of you may have seen on Zoom or in person last month when he made a presentation, is running for his third four-year term. He is being challenged by a resident of the town of Cornwall, Patrick Conklin. So that will be the only contested election. In my mayor's message that I will be sending out later this month, I will be providing information with respect to those two judicial candidates. Finally, we will have a proposition on the ballot, a referendum. As you may know, the village is considering and putting to the voters the possibility of changing our election date. At present and over the last several decades, we've always had our elections in June. The Board of Elections, who assume control of our elections in December and run our elections, have requested that we go to the November general election date, for which all the other municipalities and the state and the feds conduct their election. And in January, following an investigation by an Orange County grand jury, the grand jury made the recommendation as well that we move our election date to November. So I'd just like to read the following, which will be the proposition, which will be probably on the back of the ballot. It's important that everyone be aware of it. I'll send some more information out on it as part of my mayor's message. Shall the general village election of the Village of Tuxedo Park be held annually on Tuesday next, succeeding the first Monday in November, with the term of office of each elected village officer currently holding office extended so as to terminate at noon on the first Monday in December in the year in which their term of office would otherwise expire, upon which date the term of office of any subsequently elected village officer will commence. What that means is, if this referendum were to pass, our village elections in 2026 would take place in November. And as a result of the change, all the officers that are presently holding positions in the village would have their terms extended for another 6 months. So essentially, if I were reelected as mayor in June, my term would end in 2.5 years, or December of 2027. That would, in order for us to continue holding November elections, the terms of all the officers presently sitting at this table would have to be extended for 6 months. It will be on the ballot. It's an important matter, and I would suggest that everyone who can come out and vote, not only for the candidates, but also vote on the issue of whether we should change our elections to November. So with that being said, I'll sit down and turn to the trustees. Deputy Mayor, any comments?
Yes, I was in communication with Mitch Newman from Lennar. They are building the homes in the Tuxedo Reserve Development. And he said that homes have been started and that they anticipate starting sales in 60 days or so. Next week we'll be at the Tuxedo Reserve site with the supervisor, deputy supervisor, Senator Skoufis, Assemblyman Brabenec, and the people from Related and Lennar. And also, the other update is that Related will be building their commercial space at the same time as Lennar is building the homes. So that's all good progress, and I'm sure you've seen the curbing on the main entrance into the site. They really are moving forward, so that's exciting.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Trustee Scherer, any comments?
No comments.
Trustee Brooke?
One comment in the agenda, which I just had a chance to look at under old businesses, says update on donation for services rendered to the village by the Tuxedo Ambulance Corps. This was clearly positioned when we raised it last time as not a donation, but a supplemental service contract for services provided to the village. It is not a donation.
No.
And by virtue of discussions with council, we are not in a position to make donations. We are considering a service contract.
That's right. Thank you, Trustee Brooke. I appreciate you making that point. Now, we'll move on to public comments. Anybody in the room wish to make a comment, please raise your hand. Anyone?
Would it be possible to make a comment a little bit later?
Oh, sure. We have a second comment period at the end of the meeting if you want to stay that late.
I'd rather not.
Okay. Well, the choice is yours, Professor. You can either do it now or you can wait till the end of the meeting.
Okay.
If there's a comment you'd like to make on a specific agenda item, we'll certainly allow you to do that, though.
Okay.
If that's your intention, to comment on this.
I need to hear what things have happened. I need to hear Jeff's.
Okay, all right, that's fine, Professor. We'll certainly grant you that request. Okay, anybody else in the room? Anybody on? Oh, Mr. Yanuzzi.
Keep it brief and well under the three. I just wanted, because I know we're going to discuss it, but I just wanted to reiterate how much we at the Ambulance Corps appreciate the consideration of the supplemental contract and of how important that revenue would be to us in order to ensure and enhance the continued service that we provide. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that item is on the agenda under old business. Seeing no one else in the room, anybody on Zoom wish to make a public comment at this time, with the understanding that you're certainly free to wait until the second public comment period at the end of the meeting. Any hands raised? All right, seeing none, we will move on to reports. The court report was filed in paper. The police report, normally the police chief would be here. However, this evening he has a training session in Goshen, so he could not make it. He submitted his report in writing, and he'll update all of us at the June meeting with respect to the 2 months prior. Next, the DPW report. Jeff?
Good evening. This month, picked up leaves, steam clean boats. We rebuilt a bunch of catch basins on Tower Hill Road and Summit Road. Blacktop areas of water main repairs by SOS Fuel and Mountain Road in the town. Mowed grass. Spent a lot of time working at the beach, cutting down dead trees and trimming all the trees on the property, actually. Got the place cleaned up for this weekend coming up, put out the raft and the buoys. We mulched the area by the bathhouse. We also put mulch down by the main gate. We repaired the guardrail on Tuxedo Road after a tree came down on it. We also cut down the dead trees on Weewa Road. We cleaned drains and catch basins. Weed whacked all the triangles in the village. Worked on trucks and equipment. Weed whacked the dam embankment. We also installed handicap signs at the Weewa Beach. We weed whacked Tuxedo Road from the front gate up to Tower Hill Road. Patched potholes on Mountain Farm and Camp Comfort Road. And 2 weeks ago, we met with Eve Mancuso from Booker Engineering to start get started on the stormwater GIS mapping work. When we met with her 2 weeks ago, we brought maps that we had, and they weren't sufficient for what we needed to do. So she had her office print maps, and we met with her today, and we actually got started on Weewa Road, starting to do this GIS work. Water and sewer, installed seasonal meters, installed the meter at Weewa Park and opened the bathhouse. Various utility markouts for DickSafe. Installed 6 irrigation meters. We also excavated a water service line on Mountain Road after the new owner of the house complained that she had very little water. And there was I had no other complaints, so we excavated the line where it connects to the main, and it was clogged. The house had been sitting for years, nobody using it. We were able to disconnect it from the main, clear it out, put it back together, and everything's fine now. We repaired a leaking 4-inch water main in the regulator building at the Hamlet. One of the clamps that holds the meter regulator in from the leak, so we got that repaired. We oversaw excavating near the water main at the old Tuxedo Golf Station and raised the valve boxes as they were putting in new sidewalks. We installed pressure gauges on the low lift raw water pumps at the water plant. It was requested by Weston and Sampson. We also met with Weston and Sampson at the water plant to go over the Clearwell upgrade and collect some data that the engineers wanted. We oversaw excavation and installation of a new sewer line on Stable Road. We raised a manhole on Stable Road and made sure all the heat was off in the buildings, like the outbuildings around the village that we, turn on in the winter to keep things from freezing up.
Jeff, you have 2 items that are under new business, and rather than keep you here, would you address the trailer that you need? As
I may have to stay anyway a little longer, but thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm happy to hear the work on the water. The stormwater drain mapping has started. I might suggest that it might be best to work on the drains that come into Tuxedo Lake. since that is the lake that has the biggest problem that might be affected by the stormwater.
So I think when we met on the long range capital committee
Capital project.
thank you. It's anyway, our infrastructure committee, we had identified the WEWA, there's one, we really wanted to just have success with one item and one area. And we recognized that, you know, ultimately we're going to need to get to Tuxedo, but this was a very obvious area where there's an issue. And so it was a committee that identified that project, Jim. So what I would suggest is like, let's have success there, and then we can turn our attention to the main lake. But I mean, we agree with you. But I guess I had one question for you, which is, you said you started some work on the GIS system. Like, what did you do today? Just some more details.
We just wanted to know exactly what the engineers were looking for.
Right.
They had the experience of doing this.
Right.
And even she was a little confused, to be honest. But we picked actually right on, it was on Lorillard Road. We picked the first outfall,
Yep.
marked it on her maps that she gave us, topo maps. And then there's a form you fill out for each one. And then followed it back. There's a stream that runs under Weewa Road. We follow it all the way up.
Is that the one that goes through the Devereaux property?
Yes.
Okay, right.
That's what we worked on today. We got up to about Devereaux's and then it started to rain. I mean, we're dealing with a map that's, you know,
Do you have a clear idea what you're doing now?
I wouldn't say clear, but we have an idea.
Okay,
Like I said, she was kind of confused too, just because of the unique situation up here. It's not
Right.
like a normal municipality.
Right.
But, you know, and like
there-
I said, we didn't spend much time today just
Okay.
because of the weather, but, you know, she told me to call her at any time throughout this whole thing. If we have questions, she can come up. She's only in Sloatsburg, I guess.
I thought we'd decided, and it's fine, like, we just need to find one and like I said, Jim, like, have some success. I thought we were gonna start over by the Turners.
Well, I remember that being discussed. I didn't know that we had to start there, but
I mean,
today was the first time.
yep,
We just wanted to pick something quick that
Yep.
you can show us. And
Yep.
once we get that piece done, then we can go over
Okay.
there. Or we don't even have to finish that before we go over there. If that's
Okay.
what you're more concerned with, it's,
I mean, we're concerned with the whole park.
Right.
Right, and as you heard from Jim, I think we're particularly concerned about the big lake. So this update's helpful. What I might suggest is, if you do have questions, feel free, you know, Johan Hansen and the rest of the committee, we're available. If you're not clear, and if she's not clear, more importantly, because she was meant to be providing the you know, guiding light, let us know, please. Let John know, he can let us know. Yeah, but
Is there a contract with these people?
there is, yeah.
And is it possible to set a schedule? Like Jeff had mentioned earlier that maybe you could do it once a week. And it would be good to have it planned ahead because she has other
Yep.
work to do.
What is the plan?
well, no, but she wouldn't be here as we're going along doing this. She just came today to get us started. We're gonna be doing it ourselves.
Right.
So
But she may need to come back or maybe not.
if we have questions for her, she said she could, you know, feel free to call me and she would call.
Great.
But wouldn't the schedule be useful? I know you have other things.
Jim, it's very hard to try to schedule, you know, I mean,
Okay.
it depends on what's going on, you know, I could set a schedule, but I don't think it'll be stuck to. I don't think we can adhere to
But
it.
I mean, maybe average 4 times a month, something like that.
Yeah, I plan on trying to have one day a week where I can put the guys on it, you know?
Okay. Thank you.
That'd be great. Thanks for the update.
Mhm.
And then you wanted to
Yeah.
get to,
Oh, was there something else?
Yes. There are two items of new business, and rather than keep you here as we go through the agenda, one is the financing of a new truck for you, and the other one is a purchase of a trailer. Could you just go into the details of that from your perspective?
Well, the trailer, I mean, the one we have now is that it's not safe anymore. And we're towing a 20,000-pound machine around on this. The underneath is all rotted out, the decking is all crumbling apart. So it's not, there's no question we need it. And it's been ordered because the board approved it a month or two ago.
Right.
But we probably won't get it for another 2 or 3 months, I would think.
Okay. And how about the truck?
The truck is in. I got an email from the dealer that it was in, but I didn't reach out to him until we got the financing, nailed down. Then I'll call him and say, when can it be delivered?
Yeah,
I don't know how long the financing takes once you approve who you're gonna use, how long does it take, to get that moving where the truck can be delivered and they get their check or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's like all vehicle financing, and the deputy mayor has investigated that, and she has a recommendation for us. Okay, but I appreciate that. Any other questions by any members of the board to Jeff tonight? Okay, thanks. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Next, John, you have any reports for us for this month?
Yes, I just took some notes today. Approximately a dozen inspections occurred during the last 30 days. Sent out about 3 property maintenance letters in the last week for people that haven't begun to mow their lawn, and a few other odds and ends that have been overlooked. All the large projects are progressing, some of them a little slower than others, but things are progressing.
Any questions for John on any specific building department? No? Okay, great. All right. The water department reports are in writing and attached to the record. The treasurer reports by Elizabeth are also attached to the record. Any questions for Elizabeth since she's with us about any of her reports? No. Okay. All right. I'd make a motion, be it resolved that the board add all written reports to the permanent record. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by the deputy mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, next item is approval of prior meeting minutes. April 16th of 2025, we had a regular BOT meeting, and April 25th of 2025, we had a public hearing special meeting. I make the following motion, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the minutes from the regular Board of Trustees meeting on April 16th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Brooke. Any comments, corrections, or changes to those minutes?
No, I'll just abstain because I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay. All in favor of between the three of us? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously 3-0 with an abstention by the deputy mayor. Next resolution, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the minutes from the public hearing and special meeting of the Board of Trustees on April 25th. Do I have a second on that one?
Second.
Second by the deputy mayor. Any discussion, additions, deletions, or corrections on that from anybody? Okay.
Was I at that one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Before I vote on it.
Yeah.
You were in person.
Appreciate that. All right. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Okay. All right. The next item is old business, which Trustee Brooke properly corrected to update on contract for supplemental services rendered to the village by the Tuxedo Ambulance Corps. Let me start by saying we had hoped that we would have been able to use some dedicated funds from the Somme estate to provide some funds for this contract for supplemental services. However, upon investigating the bequest made by the Somme estate, it's really restricted to landscaping and trees. So that was a source that we had to set aside. So now, with respect to the funding from other alternatives and other suggestions, I would open it up to the board. Is there any opening comments you'd like to make, Mr. Yanuzzi, on behalf of the Ambulance Corps?
No, one that I haven't just already made or in prior meetings.
Okay.
And so I would hope that the village could find the funds where, and prioritize supporting the ambulance corps in that, in the fashion we have discussed.
Any members of the board have any suggestions with respect to where those funds should come from?
And Paul, didn't you have some suggestions at a previous meeting about this, about how it would work? Or maybe Jared can tell us how we can
Well, the
include
sequence
that.
is that it was originally presented as a donation, and then Jared said that donations are not permitted. There has been talk about making this, a donation something. And the answer is, we utilize donations to rebuild the police gate. That's a one-shot deal. We utilize donations to build the improvement in the WeWa. That's a one-shot deal. The ambulance corps provides a critical service to the residents of the village, and therefore it should be part of our regular investment in our infrastructure. It's part of the service to our infrastructure. There's no question that having people trained to do CPR and stuff would be of benefit to the village, to kids in the village to learn it, to police, to nannies, etc. So, I have not gone through the budget. I think it's important that we support a vital service to the village, and there's latitude in how we fund stuff, and I haven't looked through it. I mean, you're the one who's handling that budget, but I think we should, no question, we should retain the supplemental service contract. We already have the benefit of the ambulance corps, which is partially funded by the town, which is partially funded by our taxes. But I think there's no question that we should provide these incremental services to the village.
Do we have a written proposal? I think we do, right? I'm sorry, I didn't bring it with me. I think the best thing to do, Jared, are you there?
I am, Mayor, and thank you. I'm working on a set of papers. It's more than just a single agreement. It's a little convoluted as municipal matters typically are, unfortunately. I hope to have drafts for the board's consideration before the end of this month. Once the board is taking a look at it, I could send those drafts on to the Volunteer Ambulance Corps for their review as well, and we can get this in motion hopefully before next month's meeting.
Well, pending the determination of council, you've heard that he's working on an agreement that would be acceptable purportedly to both you and to the village. So at this point, I don't think there's anything else we have to talk about, and we wait for Jared's written responses and his opinion and any proposed agreement. How do you feel about that?
Great, and we're available, and and your time is valuable and time is of the essence. So hopefully
We understand time is of the essence. We do. And as soon as we have something in writing that we can share with you, we will provide it to you. Okay? All right. Thank you, Jared.
Very welcome.
Okay. Now we'll move on to new business. GEI contract renewal. GEI Consultants and AJ Reyes, as an employee of GEI, provide lake management service for us. This would be the annual contract renewal, and that was previously distributed, I think, at an earlier meeting for last month. So I'm going to make a motion. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees authorize the mayor to sign the standard professional services agreement with GEI Consultants to provide, no, that's different. I'm sorry. That's Phragmites. No,
We're not doing that.
we're not doing Phragmites. We're doing the annual contract. Let's see. Well, let's come back to that because you need to have an amount on the contract, which I do not have in front of me.
See if I can find it.
Okay, that'd be great.
Sorry about that. I got confused with these. I don't know why.
That's okay, Elizabeth. We've got a number of agreements with GI pending, but this is.
Yeah, I had a number of agreements, and then I had one that referenced a lot of attachments, and it didn't have most of the attachments, and I wrote to him, and I never got back, and not blaming anybody here, but I just feel badly about that.
There is an annual agreement, and that's the one we want to renew. Well, let's move on.
We should move on.
We'll move
While I
on.
look for
Okay,
it.
the next
So, I'm
item.
sorry, can I just ask a question? So we got this, is it Phragmites or Phragmites? I can't,
Phragmites.
Yeah,
Phragmites,
Phragmites.
okay.
We're going to address that next month.
Next month, okay.
Yes, that's next month.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. So the next item is hiring New England Aquatic Services divers to pull milfoil, which has been discovered in both Tuxedo Lake and Weewa Lake. So before we discuss it, let me put the motion on the table. Be resolved that the Board of Trustees authorize the mayor to sign a contract with New England Aquatic Services in the amount of $14,750 for removal of milfoil from Tuxedo Lake and Weewa Lake. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by the deputy mayor. Okay, so how about discussion? Josh, would you like to open up on that?
Sure. So I think maybe 3 years ago, maybe it was 4 years ago, after about a decade or more of not solving the milfoil problem, the board ultimately got behind using herbicide to eliminate the milfoil. It was controversial, which is why it took so long to get there. And at that time, we knew that to keep this invasive species at bay, that we were going to have to continue to either use herbicide or use divers. And I don't remember, John, I don't know if you remember the cost of that treatment, but it was expensive. It was very expensive. And this is one of those things where the longer you wait, the worse it gets, the more expensive it gets. And so this is really, we don't have a lot of milfoil in the lakes. And so this is really preventative. We're at the stage right now where it's affordable to use divers. We couldn't have used divers 4 years ago. It would have literally cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we just don't want it to get to that stage again. Having said that, it's our drinking water. And generally, I think this community, rightfully so, is against using herbicides unless you absolutely need to. And so, the proposal is to bring in divers for 5 days, 7-hour work days, 3 days for the main lake and 2 days for Weewa to basically dive, pluck the plants at their roots and get them out of the lake. So it's not inexpensive, but it's way less expensive than the alternative. So.
Well, I'd like to make one comment. When we looked at it, it was also remarkably ineffective. The pulling of milfoil actually can spread it, right? And therefore, the chemical treatment was both safe and effective. Pulling it is safe, but relatively ineffective. And I think it's probably a waste of money because we can actually retreat with the chemicals that are safe, approved, and there have been no problems with it as well. There were people who didn't believe we should do anything for the milfoil. And in fact, the milfoil themselves would have damaged the quality of the water. So we're protecting the quality of the water, and the efficient way to do it is with chemical treatment, not with divers who pull the stuff and it spreads. That's the data that we had when we looked at it. So I remember nothing that says it's effective. It's expensive and it's relatively ineffective.
In fairness, I mean, I have a different recollection, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I just have a different recollection, which is it's effective for small areas. The divers are professionals. They do this for a living. They know how to do it in a way that it won't spread. So I don't think the spreading here, I don't recall that being the issue. I just recall it being such a problem that we just couldn't have afforded to use divers for everything.
Josh, is the area small areas at this point?
Very,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That have been
Yeah.
identified by AJ, our
Mhm.
lakes manager.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's good. There's been a huge improvement.
Yes, Professor.
It's caused by fragmentation because pieces of it sink to the bottom and root.
Or spread,
So if-
not just
if-
sink, but
if
spread.
it's done correctly, if the pulling is done correctly, there's somebody in a kayak there as well who's got a scoop. And any fragments that are
412.
created
Okay, thank
by
you.
the pulling get picked up and taken away. Now, if it's done in a sloppy way, what you say is true. But if it's done well, it can be effective.
My position is it's a waste of money, given the adequacy of using chemical treatment. And,
I didn't hear that. Maybe I didn't.
He said his view is it's a waste of money.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was his former point.
and he made it again. Yep.
Okay, any other discussion?
We don't have a comparison of what the chemical treatment would cost for these small areas, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, pouring chemicals in a lake doesn't limit the chemicals to a small area, does it now? I mean, you pour it into a lake, it eventually dissipates throughout the entire body of water.
chemicals have a reasonable half-life. When you put it in an area, it sinks, and that's how it affects the milfoil. It doesn't spread generally. That is why we did it last time. That's why it was effective. And, something that's effective and cost-effective, I think, is preferable to hiring a bunch of people where there is historic evidence that it can spread.
Well, if we're careful, if they're careful and the inspection afterwards, and we'll see whether.
No, you will not see the inspection. If it spreads,
I'm having a hard time.
it'll
finding
take some time to spread.
No. I mean, it'll come up the next year.
Fine, it's a decision of
It'll come up the next year.
your opinion is of value, it's opinion of the board on what's effective. And,
Unless I got it on your phone. It stops me at 421.
So did mine. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, that being said, any other comments from any of the board members? We'll have to, we obviously don't, we have a disagreement on this. We'll take a vote. So the motion before the board is be it resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to sign a contract with New England Aquatic Services for diver-assisted suction harvesting, both in Tuxedo Lake as well as in Weewa Lake, to remove the milfoil that's been found. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed?
I,
No, nay? Okay.
nay.
3-1, the motion passes. Thank you. All right, next item, and we're still looking for the GEI contract.
I definitely don't have it.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
need a number. Elizabeth,
412.
Yeah,
we're looking for an email from 412 from AJ Reyes, which contains a copy of the GEI contract. So at least we know what the cost of that contract is and put it on the record.
okay.
All right?
Did we all
Yep.
get, maybe
I only go back to 421. I don't know why.
That's the
Oh.
same for me.
I can go back on my laptop.
Anyway, let's move on to the next item, the financing for the purchase of the DPW truck. I'll make the motion, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve financing for the purchase of the DPW truck with MCL,
MLC,
MLC.
Municipal Leasing Corporation.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. Go ahead, tell us
So we
why
had
you
three
recommend that.
proposals to look at. Actually, Greene County, or the Bank of Greene County, gave us a bond proposal. And that ended up being about $250 less per year for the 5 years. But that was just for their underwriting. It didn't include costs of bond counsel and the annual reporting that would be required. Not that that's costly, but it's just another thing to have to do. So since the difference in cost between the bond issuance and the 5-year installment loan from MLC is only $250 per year, I recommend we go with MLC. And that's the company we've used in the past for leasing equipment.
Okay. Any other
Any
discussion?
questions?
Any questions for the Deputy Mayor and Finance Director by the other trustees about this?
No.
No? Okay. All in favor of approving the financing purchase of the DPW truck from MLC, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, unanimous, 4-0. Okay, the next item is the DPW trailer purchase. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the purchase of a trailer for the DPW in the amount of $25,407 to be paid for from the Somme Estate bequest. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second?
Second by the Deputy Mayor. Any discussion on the purchase of this trailer? You heard from Jeff earlier that the one they're using now is in sad shape and may be unsafe, and unfortunately, we need a new trailer so they can hold their equipment around the village. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0.
No, I mean, I can go back, but I don't see.
You
if
may
I
not
was-
have.
Yeah, I don't think I got
May not have
it.
been copied
Yeah.
on it. I texted AJ.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna look
I
for
don't
the.
have it.
Okay, we're going to try to get another copy before the end of the meeting. All right, next item on the agenda, our contract with 3 separate extensions with Sterling Carting to pick up our garbage and recyclables ends in November, and we cannot renew. We have to go through an RFP, so I'm asking the board to authorize me and Jared or someone in his office to prepare an RFP in conjunction with Jeff and John. So I make a motion that the Board of Trustees authorize the clerk to issue an RFP for garbage and recycling removal as soon as possible so that we can get the bids in and make a decision. Do I have a second? Second by Trustee Brooke. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Next item is a new website and authorization to hire a new website company. Now, Elizabeth knows a little bit about this. So could you give us some background before I make the motion, Elizabeth, in terms of why we have to do this?
Well, for one thing, the company that we're currently using for our website, Civic Plus, have said that they are phasing out the platform that we use. So we have to get a new website anyway. And as it happens, as the board is aware, there are new regulations about websites, and they're supposed to be ADA compliant. So this is a good time to address that and upgrade to a website that is ADA compliant. So that's another issue. I believe that another company, Revise, had previously reached out to me. So then I, went back to them to say, can you give us a quote? And somebody from Revise is actually participating virtually in this meeting, and he is available to talk if anybody wants to ask him questions. This is Greg Killer, I believe.
Are you saying, Elizabeth, there are 2 companies that are competing to provide this service?
Yeah, we have 2 different quotes, and just because so often they talk about getting 3 quotes, I reached out to another company to get a 3rd quote, but I was late in doing it. I only did it on Monday, and I didn't hear back from them yet.
Is there a deadline on this?
No, at least not as far as I know. I don't know. I assume at some point Civic Plus will just pull the plug, but they haven't told me that yet. So I think we're seeing for the time being.
Well, we'd be happy to hear from, is it Mr. Hill?
Greg?
Hi, hello there. My name is Greg Hillier. Yes, Mr. Hill is good enough for me. And first of all, thanks for allowing me to be here. I had my high school tuxedo out, but did not fit, so I'm interested in this. So, yeah. So the ADA is the Department of Justice has set a rule out a year ago that every government website must be ADA compliant by April 1st of next year. I've been talking to Elizabeth for some time now. We did a presentation and we give her a quote. And so I'm opening up to any questions you might have about our system. We've been around for 25 plus years, and we only do government websites. We win awards without being announced. We don't ask for them. They come to us directly, and we're very well known in the industry.
We actually have someone in the audience who has some familiarity with these websites. Do you have a question for the speaker?
I just want to.
Just identify yourself for the record. Yes,
He can't hear you unless you speak, sorry. Right, isn't that correct?
yeah, sure. Yeah,
Leslie Warren.
thank you.
So my question is, do you have a committee? Is it just Elizabeth deciding on these two companies or, what's? And the reason why I'm asking is I am a systems analyst. That's what I do. And I happen to have been the first website master for our first website here in Denver. So I have some familiarity with it. The red alert, I installed that. That stuff doesn't mean anything per se. I mean, I just wanted another pair. I'm always like another pair of eyes on these type of. So that's my suggestion.
Well, having heard that the deadline is next April and knowing that there are at least two companies that are interested in providing this service, I think it's great that you volunteered to.
I heard that.
Yeah.
And so
She already volunteers.
what we are going to do is we're going to table this discussion at this point and look into, this is the first time the board has actually put this on the agenda. And we don't really have enough information, Mr. Hill.
Yes.
Captain DeVore, or former Captain DeVore, will assist us in making a determination as to how to comply with the federal directives regarding our new website. So, Elizabeth, would you coordinate with Leslie
Sure.
and make something up present something to us after she's evaluated the proposals, and we can consider this sometime in the near future. Okay?
Okay.
Sir, if I can say one more thing.
Yep.
In the past 9 months, there's been a 394% increase of government hacking, which is, and we have not had an intrusion or hacked in 15 plus years. So there's a lot of things to talk about in the next couple of months, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity here, but we have not been hacked, and we have a ADA scan. We are ADA compliant. We have ADA widgets to help you impaired immediately be able to go to your website and there. Currently, you're on a WordPress, which is an open source, and I'll be more than happy to talk to Leslie. I believe, and Leslie, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate that, and I look forward to the future of this conversation.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I'd also say, thank you for giving us the the referrals from all the different municipalities that you work with.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. All right. We'll move on to the next item. The last item of new business is retroactive authorization to hire Albert Bolger. The DPW was short one man and one employee, I'm sorry. And Jeff had recommended after interviewing Albert that he be hired as a laborer. So with respect to that hiring, I make the motion, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve retroactively the hiring of Albert Bolger, laborer, at a rate of $36.55 per hour. All hires at the DPW have 90-day probationary periods, and he's still within that period. And then Jeff will make a decision about his permanent position. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. Any discussion about this hire? All in favor?
Right.
Hi.
Aye. 4-0, Elizabeth. Okay. Any luck on the GEI contract?
Nothing.
Okay.
No, I
And-
don't have it.
Yeah, okay. So, well, then we'll continue to move on. All right, next item is the audit of claims. With respect to the audit of claims, there were bills. I assume those are the bills on the table.
Yeah.
For the general fund in the amount of $158,950. Bills for the water fund in the amount of $34,008.70. bills for the sewer fund in the amount of $16,119.26, and bills for the professional fees fund in the amount of $1,015 were audited and ordered paid. Budget transfers. I believe there is some. I don't have any
Yeah.
information on that.
They're right there.
Okay.
They're posted on the website also.
Okay. Deputy Mayor and Finance Director, if you just give us a summary of those.
Well, in the general fund, I don't know, I don't have the total of transfers, but,
It's around 43, around
43, yeah, thank you.
altogether.
43,000 in the sewer fund. There's just $75 transfer. And in the water fund, $1,165 transfer from water contractual to water administration. So I'd like to make a motion. Do we need to make a motion?
The town makes a motion. We generally don't.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's the difference in
That's
our
the
procedure.
difference.
We don't make a motion on that.
Okay.
So, all right. That being said, we now, I make a motion that the Board of Trustees leave the public meeting and enter executive
Let's see if
session.
there's any other public comment.
Oh, is that public comment? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Any public comment? Anyone in the audience wish to make public comment before we go into executive session? Anybody on Zoom wish to make public comment before we go into executive session? Any trustees wish to comment before we go into executive session? All right. That being said, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees leave the public meeting and enter executive session at 7:54 p.m. Do I have a second? Second by Trustee Scherer. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Deputy Mayor?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, unanimous.
I'm sorry, Mayor, did you say what we're going into executive session to
Aye.
discuss?
Oh, thank you. We're going into executive session to discuss, to receive attorney advice on the issue of land acquisition, to receive attorney advice on other minor matters involving individual residents. That is best discussed in executive session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hold on one second.
Okay, we're back in the public meeting, and we have actually received a copy of the GEI annual contract for lake management. The amount of the contract is,
I think it's 40,212.
Yes.
correct.
We need to talk
Okay.
about this.
Be
Right?
resolved that the
Or no?
Board of Trustees authorize the mayor to
Huh?
sign the annual GEI contract for lake management services for the total sum of $40,212. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Scherer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, unanimous. We have a second resolution with respect to a water bill. Be it resolved that for account number
623.
623, based upon water damage, well, what was it? It was a water main.
Water pipe broke.
Water pipe breaking in the middle of the winter and causing a tremendous amount of water to leak through the house, that the Board of Trustees resolves that the sewer charge assessed with respect to that water leakage shall be reduced to the minimum monthly charge only for the period of time and duration during which that water leakage took place. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is that what we said, billed for the water?
The sewer charge, excess sewer charge will be reduced.
Right, does she have 2 meters? Does she have a water? She only has one.
Just interior consumption.
Okay.
It's not a seasonal.
There's a difference, right? Because you have, I mean, my experience is you get actually a water charge that's entirely separate from the sewer charge.
But
She has-
the sewer charge is calculated based on the water usage.
She
She has only one.
She has 1 meter. This happened, I assume in February or March. There was no outside consumption.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like there was an irrigation system.
No,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. Her sewer bill, her excess sewer bill due to the water leakage will be reduced to the minimum sewer charge for that period in which the water leaked over the winter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Scherer, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. All right. I move that we adjourn this meeting of the Board of Trustees. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
Aye. Thank you.
I'm sorry,
4-0.
who's,
Trustee Brooke did, Elizabeth.
oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And board, members, I just want to let you know I won't be in tomorrow. I hope you don't mind the late notice, but
That's okay. You have, you told us why, right? It's a good
I
reason.
just told you, my daughter graduated.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations,
Excited.
Elizabeth.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Okay. You have a great time.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
See you
you.
Friday. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Thanks.